Buffalo Bills may be the scariest team in the NFL. They're the most dangerous teams, like the ones that are on that hot stretch entering the playoffs. In today's video, we react to the Bills' big win and the Chargers firing Brandon Staley.
They finally done it. The Chargers finally fired Brandon Staley.
And we react to the Leon Edwards and Kobe Covington fight. And stay tuned for some Liverpool Man United talk.
Man United had the better scoring chances, if I recall. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR podcast.
Before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe.
As always, make sure you guys follow our socials down below. TikTok, we're almost at 100 followers. Get us there. The support's been going crazy on TikTok recently, so get us to 100 there. Instagram, like I said, get it up to get that rolling 200. And yeah, follow everywhere else. We've dropped some challenge videos for you guys, so hit that subscribe button on the YouTube Shorts like you guys have been. Just a heads up, this weekend we'll be dropping a guest video. We recorded a guest. He's actually a returning guest. You guys can figure that out on your own. Talked about his journey and everything like that. So yeah, just a FYI there. Make sure you guys tune into that. Turn on the notifications for it. You don't want to miss it. And outside of that, let's just get right in. Oh, audio listeners, can't forget about you guys. Joven, shout out.
Brussels, USA, I guess.
Brussels mainly. We should check the numbers out.
USA is at top. I checked it.
Okay,
so but it's like an NA. I don't know why. It's like
that city is the NA location.
Yeah. So like it doesn't even tell me the exact location.
Yeah. Make sure you guys rate, review,
and obviously Surrey and Vancouver.
Yeah. Rate, review, and download the podcast. We just gotta shout out Brussels because we're in
That's
Europe
a random one.
And Europe.
Yeah. But NFL.
Let's get right into it. Without further ado, Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills are the scariest team in football potentially.
Are they back? Are they Super Bowl contenders once again? Are they gonna make me look smart? We'll start off there.
I think they've always been contenders. Obviously, that doesn't really.
But it doesn't
change too much, in my opinion. But yes, were they playing poorly? 100%. Don't get me wrong. But I think they've been back since. I think that Philly game really helped them with the bye, and then the Chiefs game as well. But that Philly game, they played good football that game, right? I can't really discredit what the Bills did that game. It's just that Philly's a good team, and sometimes you lose those heartbreakers. So then, based off that, even Josh Allen said himself that he felt good mechanically that game. And obviously from that point on, they've been very good. And it also helps when you have the bye week as well, because they had a late bye.
How much is it Ken Dorsey gone?
That also is another effect too, yeah. Because Joe Brady's using James Cook as more like the unicorn style, right?
He literally cooked.
James Cook is like those McCaffrey, like Alvin Kamara receiving back types of running backs. And obviously on the ground, he had 200 scrimmage yards total against the Cowboys defense, which is no joke at all. So yeah, he's using James Cook like a proper weapon, which we haven't really seen before.
Yeah. I guess the question is, I don't think they're frauds anymore. So that's the thing. That's the question.
But they still gotta get in.
Yeah,
they still gotta get in.
That's a different story, right? So you're labeling that team to be like, don't let that team to get in. Because if they get in, they're like the Lakers, like from last year.
Don't let them get in.
Don't let them get an opportunity to get in a playoff spot, because if they do, they might cook.
They're the most dangerous teams, like the ones that are on that hot stretch entering the playoffs. And right now they're on a good stretch, and they're gonna need to be on that good stretch. The next two games are very winnable.
Cincy Bengal style.
Yeah.
Except this is more a well-known team. That's better.
But like this is. The thing is, like, they have the Patriots and the Chargers, or Chargers then Patriots, whatever it is. Yeah. They have those two games next. Those are very winnable. You win those two games, and depending on Miami's schedule, the division not even out of the picture, because Miami has the Cowboys and the Ravens. Then the Bills.
And that's Miami's biggest question mark was, can they get that big win?
But before you go, Buffalo's biggest weakness was beating the bad teams. AKA the loss to Jets, loss to Patriots, all these guys, right? So they still gotta get it done, but you don't want to. If they make the playoffs, you don't want to face them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to the playoff picture later on, so we'll revisit Buffalo. Too late for Josh Allen to be MVP though.
Yeah.
Like would you say his last couple performances were MVP caliber? I'm not saying his overall year. I'm saying his last couple performance. Ever since the change, the OC change.
I mean, I'm not really. It's not like MVP performance. It was more like their wins were like good team wins, right? Good defense, good running game, and obviously Josh Allen did his Josh Allen things. It's not like it was anything like amazing, right? Like or like top notch, like what Mahomes was last year. It was good, Josh Allen. It was very good, Josh Allen quarterback play. So I don't think it was like MVP performance, the hero Josh Allen that we see a lot. Like, and honestly, he needed to get away from that.
Yeah, okay, so we both picked Buffalo in our family fantasy pool, and we obviously discussed this in our game of the week. First of all, our game of the weeks have always been blowouts, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Something. It hasn't been like the true game of the week. Is the MVP race so close that Dak lost it now? Let's flip over to the Cowboys. We'll revisit the Buffalo Bills in the playoff picture. But Dallas Cowboys, is Dak now out of the MVP picture because of this game?
I don't think so. I think he's still in there. I don't think he, like, obviously, don't get me wrong, they were bad. But they were bad everywhere. It wasn't just Dak, right? Like, their defense allowed 31 points. And considering that talent on that defense, you know, you're not, I don't care what any team, whoever team you are, like, you're not expecting to put up 31 points against that Dallas defense.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Dak obviously threw a pick. And
only 134 yards.
134 yards. Yeah, it's not the best performance, but I don't think it takes him out of the conversation because we can't disregard what he did for like the last 6 weeks as well.
But how much does that elevate Brock Purdy now? Or, you know, speaking of, we have Sunday Night Football on in the background, Lamar Jackson, depending on how he does this game.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help his case for sure. So obviously, if that's the case, right, Jalen Hurts, I think Jalen Hurts is done too. So yeah, it's Lamar. Like, it will elevate Lamar's case, and obviously, if Lamar gets a big win here, which is gonna propel their position to be the number 1 seed, it's gonna be Lamar.
Out of the QBs, you had Dak 1. Does Dak fall to 2? Put Lamar to the side.
Dak falls to 2.
So is Brock Purdy ahead of him?
No, Lamar's ahead of him.
So you don't even have Brock Purdy ahead of him?
No.
Because there's many people that have Brock Purdy winning it.
Now. Yeah, because of their
like Brock Purdy, you want to say his stretch, ever since that small stretch and that bye week, he's been on a tear.
Yes.
This MVP thing is so close that like this could put Dak out of the picture.
Potentially. Right. I don't think it's out of the picture. He still like will be in the conversation. We're assuming quarterbacks because we're assuming all quarterbacks.
Okay, fine. Now let's put in how much are you going to give Christian McCaffrey the credit? Let's stick with Brock Purdy for a second.
I'm still giving it to McCaffrey ahead of Purdy.
Okay, and then Tyreek didn't play today. Sunday, as this time is recording.
And I don't think it matters.
Well, because people are saying he'll only get it if he breaks the record, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still on pace. I think he should be on pace still. Let's see how he does it in these last couple of games. But for you, it's one of... If you were to do an overall ranking, is it 1 and 2 Tyreek, Christian McCaffrey, and then it's like Lamar? Or are you doing one of those two, then Lamar, and then one of those two at 3?
No, it's the first one. The one of Hill and McCaffrey, then one of Hill and McCaffrey at number 2, and then Lamar.
And then on you right now, with knowing Hill did not play and how McCaffrey performed today, granted, it's the Arizona Cardinals. How are you ranking it right now, MVP?
Oh, that's tough. Because obviously the records, like when you're looking at it like in realistic fashion, Tyreek needs the record, and obviously that's going to take a little hit when he doesn't play today. So in that case, it might just be given to a quarterback. So but I'm still giving it to Tyreek. He's still number 1 for me. It's not changing.
How confident are you that one of those two will get MVP this year?
I'm not very confident. It's the NFL. Yeah. It's an NFL MVP award, right? You were never confident in a position player winning.
Because AP was the last one, right? Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, I think that was
back in 2012.
Yeah, around
that was
then.
the last one. But
yeah, I don't think any wide receiver won either.
The MVP conversation changes every week, right?
Dude, has any wide receiver won? Or it's been a long time since a wide receiver won?
Double check.
But yeah, you're right. MVP conversation.
The only ones I remember were Lawrence Taylor and Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Maybe Jim Brown won it back.
I don't think a wide receiver did. Jim Brown's a running back anyways.
Okay, but so you're right now, but a QB ranking wise, it's for you. It's still Lamar now, depending on how this game goes. So that's still in like.
Yeah, it's Lamar's 1 still.
And then you have Dak, and then you have Purdy.
Yeah, I'll still edge it out to Dak, but that gap is way too close now.
Yeah.
Obviously it's gonna take a hit when we'll see what Dak does against the Dolphins next week. So the Dolphins are a good defense too.
There's 18 non-QB winners. This list apparently includes a kicker. Zero wide receivers though.
0 wide receivers. So yeah, so Tyreek Hill can make history by becoming the first wide receiver.
So the guys are AP, LaDainian Tomlinson back in 06. So it's even like it obviously doesn't happen often. Sean Alexander won in 05. So running backs.
Back-to-back years.
The last three winners are running backs.
Yeah, so obviously running backs.
Marshall Faulk, so 4.
Because running backs are like, when you think about it this way.
At that time, especially.
I know, but like when you think about it this way, like running backs are like, yeah, obviously O-line's a big factor,
Yeah.
but it's like it's on the running back, right?
Because if you're
Like,
keeping
I'm running-
the ball, how do
yeah.
you get yards?
Like if you're getting like 140 yards, you're taking the credit. But
Yeah.
if you're taking 0 yards, you know, it's gonna be a little bit different there. Whereas wide receiver, the quarterback's getting the ball.
Barry Sanders shared it with Brett Favre one year,
Actually,
1997.
wow.
Literally everyone on this is at running back.
Yeah.
Everyone on this. So yes, no wide receiver. Who's the? I wonder what kicker it was. Now that I'm interested, let me just look this up. Lawrence Taylor was obviously the non.
Yeah, edge rush. And that's the case. Aaron
Mark
Donald.
Mosley,
Aaron Donald should have won
Washington
one.
Redskins. So if that was the case, Justin Tucker would ever have? Did he or Vinatieri ever have an opportunity to do it?
No, there's no chance.
Like, how would a kicker win it? I know this is obviously in the 70s or 80s.
It's just a defensive game back then. The only points you get are field goals.
So it's either your running back and then your kicker.
Yeah, and it's not like you get touchdowns.
Why is this guy not the greatest kicker then?
Okay, yeah.
MVP. But yeah, no, like overall Cowboys though. Let's end the Cowboys talk here. Concerning, or is it just one game blip? Do they fall on your rankings? Are they still 3 on your rankings? Did they move up because of Philly from last week? So what do you think of the Cowboys
moved them
right
up
now? Is
last
it the
week.
classic Stephen A. Smith?
The list is fluid.
What could go wrong will go wrong. Just wait.
Okay.
And we genuinely we thought the Bills would have won because it was the Cowboys' loss. Due, especially in Buffalo.
The thing is this: you're concerning away from home. It is concerning away from home because they dominate at home.
Because if the Eagles win Monday Night Football, which we'll get into
yeah,
later.
like you could tell by their record against the Eagles, like they won their last 6 home games against the Eagles.
Yeah.
So you could tell like there's a thing, and then they're always losing in Philadelphia. So yeah, as an away team, it is concerning, but as an overall team, I think it's just a blip. But we'll see. Will be another true test next week against the Dolphins for the Cowboys. But yeah, no, they got especially defensively, it's a blip, 100%. And you're gonna get another big test, especially if Tyreek Hill plays next week as well against a high-powered offense like Miami. So yeah, you gotta give them another game just because they've been on such a hot stretch.
All right, let's move on to Thursday Night Football. And when we previewed it, we didn't care. We just said Raiders are gonna win. Now, we did not know they were going to score 63 points after a week before scoring 0. And then ultimately ended up winning 63-21. But the scoreline was closer than it was. It was like 42-0 at one point. So, overall game, we don't even talk about it.
It was
The
so
Raiders
ugly
kicked it.
that you just said 63-21 was the closest part of the game.
Yeah.
That's wild.
This was obviously Easton Stick. So it wasn't even Justin Herbert, no Keenan Allen. I expected a loss. I didn't think it was gonna be this bad, especially defensively. But on the other side of things, it's the post game thing. They finally done it. The Chargers finally fired Brandon Staley, and on top of that, they fired pretty much a lot of the coaching staff on the defensive side.
Tom Telesco. The Chargers GM, general manager.
Let's start with Staley first before we go to Tom Telesco.
Obviously, you're happy, so...
Well, I'm happy. Like, I'm not as happy because you fired him because at this point, like, when you needed to fire him, you didn't fire him. You fire him when your QB is injured. You're not going to have a proper interim coach at this point because who's going to... Like, Kellen Moore rejected the interim spot because he didn't want to hurt his chances. And in a way, I get his point because... How is he going to turn around, give this team a couple of wins even? Like, just say they had a fighting chance. At this point, just go get Brock Bowers or whoever best player available in the draft will be, you know. Obviously, Quentin Johnson at the moment isn't doing well. It might be another Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson situation there, but obviously, it's a rookie. We'll see what he does with a different offensive staff or if it is going to be a different offensive staff. But... it's too late at this point. Like, what's the point, right? Like, now it's I get it. He got 63. You probably had literally zero choice but to fire him.
100%.
That's the only reason why you did it. I bet you if this game was like, I don't know, 21-7, he would have still stayed.
Yeah, 100%.
There was no point. But like, cause you dropped 63, you know, he should have been fired. Speaking of the Jaguars, like that after that playoff game, because there was no excuse, especially as a defensive coach, to blow a 31 whatever nothing lead it was, 30-0 lead, because they ended up losing like 31-30. I don't think it was 30-0. It was like something less than that.
I think it was like 20,
it was 27.
27-0, yeah.
Yeah, and then the field goal later. But yeah, no, I think it's just too late at this point. But you know, finally you did it. You came to your senses. So job well done there. Coach, we'll talk about the coach and who could be a replacement. But Tom Telesco, not surprised either. The team has been underperforming since. You did well by picking up Justin Herbert. I guess, and I think he deserves that contract.
Obviously, there's nothing on Herbert.
Yeah. But you didn't do. I don't know. How much can you really blame Telesco outside of the coach situation?
He did his best. Like on paper, he put together a good team.
Yeah.
Like if you're telling me a team with like a defense with Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, right, Derwin James, Asante Samuel Jr.
You brought in J.C. Jackson.
Obviously that one or whatever. Yeah, shit happens, right? Who knows? That's like a 50-50 because you did throw a fat contract as well. But I know if like the 4 players I just listed, right? You're telling me that defense is not performing well,
and you have a defensive coach.
I can't blame you for that.
Sebastian Joseph Day
as well.
Yeah,
like there's many more. I'm just named the 4 stars.
Yeah.
Like there's many more good role players. Like Kenneth Murray falls into that category as well. Flip side, offensive line. I don't think he did a good enough job. So that one I blame Telesco a little bit more because at the end of the day, Rashawn Slater, they signed Corey Linsley, but I think he should, like you could tell that Herbert is getting injured. Like Herbert plays hurt a lot, right, in his last couple of years, and obviously this year with the broken hand, he's gonna be out. I can't. That one I'm gonna put on Telesco just because at the end of the day, what let down Herbert was defense and the offensive line as well.
How much could you put on Telesco that Mike Williams is getting hurt?
Yeah, that part. Yeah, so that's why I didn't put weapons. I didn't say weapons.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying in general because like the injuries are. I guess you could say O-line for Herbert, sure, but outside of that, like for the most part, Herbert played every game. I think ever since he came in.
I know, but like, he's getting hit.
But
that's the point.
Yeah, I don't know if Telesco deserved to lose his job. That's just me. But if you're gonna do a fresh restart, just do a fresh restart at this point.
You know what the thing is? The way he spent the money.
Exactly. I was gonna bring that up now.
Yeah.
I forgot to save the thing. He has money on Khalil Mack. He has money on obviously Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, J.C. Jackson. I think he still has to pay. I don't know how the trade, the financial stuff work, and and then obviously I think Derwin James. You have Joey Bosa on the list. So I don't know if someone's gonna get cut at that point. Maybe I could see a guy like Khalil Mack get cut, right? Like guys like that. I could see one of the wide receivers maybe get cut. I don't know. They maybe if depending on how they finish, they might be able to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Who knows? We'll look at the playoff picture and then I guess the draft picture in a second.
Yeah,
but like
the thing is this, right? The Super Bowl window, right, is best when your quarterback's on a rookie deal.
Yeah,
he's not on that anymore.
Exactly.
Since he made the Super Bowl with Burrow, all right, on his rookie deal, so he created the way he spent the cash is like, all right, he's telling the owners, he's showing us that this is a Chargers window right now, right? We gotta get it done, right? The aggressive moves he made to get obviously these good players, the star players, right? Like Khalil Mack's like on like up there in sacks. I don't know how many like. I don't know what place he is, but like, it's like one of Khalil Mack's best years. Yeah. And that's surprising to say because Khalil Mack had many good years. So like doing all these moves, bringing in Mack, signing all these players.
You even brought Carl Van Noy in too.
Yeah, signing Corey Linsley from the Packers.
Yeah.
You were telling the owner that like this is our Super Bowl window, and you failed. You only made you made the postseason once. You blew a lead. You lost to a week 17 matchup against the Raiders,
which could have
a couple of years ago.
So I guess because of the coach, he probably deserved to get fired. Because I don't know who. Okay, I can't blame him fully for not firing the coach. It could be the owner being like, "I ain't trying to pay this guy. I don't know how much he was paid, anyways." But yeah, I guess it's a fresh.
And on top of that, you hired Staley as well.
So, okay, I don't know much GMs. Who are you gonna hire? Stuff like the only guy I really know that's might be capable is Louis Riddick, but how realistic can that be? Outside of that, I don't know who like the top guys are. Obviously, maybe you go look at who's one of the someone under Howie Roseman, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Again, like, is that going to be a case where the Belichick coaches shit the bed type of thing? Go elsewhere? How much was it just Howie, and how much was it like the guy who worked with Howie, AGM or whatever the role might be? Yeah, right. Like I don't know. Ballard was under the Kansas City tree.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe someone there because Ballard, Ballard's only problem is he's not spending the money externally, and that could be an Irsay thing as well. But outside of that, let's talk about the coaches. Would you want this team? Okay, Belichick aside, because we know that's right now the rumored favorite spot. Outside of Belichick, because he's a defensive coach, we'll talk about that fit in a second. If it's up to you, offensive coach or defensive coach? Yeah, start there.
Offensive coach or I mean, if
Because you have Herbert.
if you're keeping Kellen Moore,
I don't think he'll be back. I think the coach.
okay. So if he's gone too,
I think they're gonna be a fresh restart.
If it's a fresh restart,
GM's gone too.
if it's a fresh restart, I still think their offense is like good enough. So like I won't mind a defensive coach, but obviously when you have like Herbert, a defensive coach. Sorry, but when you have Herbert, obviously you should favor an offensive coach in my opinion, and get a guy who's a DC, who's like could just run the room basically.
So here's the thing with Kellen Moore. I think if they get a offensive coach, Kellen Moore ain't gonna be there because I doubt he'll be a play caller. Usually, me, I usually go offensive coach, right? Like, just because, because that's how you get power. You're gonna get the points, and you just get a really good defensive guy. As much as I'm on Gus Bradley's case at times, he's still proven enough that I don't hate it too much. But we'll talk about the Colts in a second. This time I might be like, obviously I'm not saying Belichick, but maybe it might have to be. Look at what D'Amico Ryans is doing.
Yeah,
D'Amico Ryans. Raheem Morris was a big candidate last year for the Colts.
I'm bring up a name right now. What? Brian Flores.
Well, hey, and there's another one, Spagnuolo,
Lou Anarumo from the Bengals. So what Flores is doing with the Vikings defense is pretty insane.
And he has the experience, and it wasn't that.
And he was a good head coach.
Yeah,
like especially with that Dolphins team, he was like a level record. Obviously, 1 year being really bad, 1 year they barely missed the playoffs.
Even the year they were bad, they were like the worst team in football and ended up 5 wins. That was the
truth
year.
Yeah.
But no, like honestly, like the only offensive guys I remember, I was watching Nick Shook's Gridiron podcast. I forget the other's name. Sorry about that. But he was saying like the only real. Oh no, sorry. It was that podcast, but also when he was playing Madden, I was in his chat, and I asked him like, is Ben Johnson the only name available? Right, Ben Johnson being the OC of the Detroit Lions. He's like, yeah, that might be the best one outside of Lou.
But he's a DC.
Yeah. Outside of him, really. But I think they might just maybe go defensive coach. No, that could be Belichick, and if it's Belichick, he might bring Josh McDaniels back. And whatever you want to say about Josh McDaniels, OC wise, he's a stud. Right?
Yeah.
Mac Jones was potentially Rookie of the Year, potentially.
Yeah. He was second.
Yeah.
Like,
he was up. There was a reason why there was a debate of it, right?
It became a debate, yeah.
I don't know how much, if that means he has to like let go of his contract with the Raiders, because obviously he has a contract there, being fired. But that's why I don't hate the fact I'm getting a defensive guy and just get a good offensive guy, right? You look at who are good defense, like obviously D'Amico Ryans aside, who are good defensive coaches that have a good offense this year? Do you know? Because Stefanski, I think, is offense. O'Connell's offense. Obviously, the guys in the NL West or NFC West are offense. The two main guys there.
Good offense.
All three guys there, honestly. Oh no, Jonathan Gannon, but that's a different story.
Tampa Bay's offense is not pretty. It's not the best. But Todd Bowles leading the case there.
Saints can't be in the picture. So Dan Campbell, kind of, because he's a defensive guy, I believe.
Well, he was a linebackers coach, yeah.
So it could be like you have to find a Ben Johnson. I don't think Ben Johnson leaves unless you're gonna pay him more money to go lateral move an OC.
He has to be head coach.
Yeah, like I might go after Raheem Morris because I remember listening to a lot of his stuff because of the Colts last year's situation.
Yeah.
And how people on the Colts beat reporters were all in on him as well as between him and Steichen.
Yeah, it was between him and Steichen. Yeah,
you couldn't go wrong with either. So maybe a guy like Raheem Morris give him another opportunity now that he's and he knows working under Sean McVay, he knows what a good offense can be so he could bring someone from there, whatever the case may be. But yeah, like honestly, I might be leaning defense just because how bad their defense has been with those stud.
That's why,
mentioned.
yeah.
That's the only reason. Otherwise, I'm very offense biased. That's why I wanted Colts to get Shane Steichen for that reason.
Yeah.
But even then, like, look at Nathaniel Hackett, right?
The thing was,
you have to bring in a play caller.
The thing with the Colts offense is you knew Colts were getting a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's why offense made sense for the Colts. The thing here is, I don't think you go wrong, offense or defense.
Like,
I don't think you can go wrong.
Moore, I won't be mad with it.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, you can't blame Clem Moore for the drops Quentin Johnson has done. Or the O-line or whatever that. Okay,
he takes blames for because their offense took a step back.
Yeah.
He takes blame for that, right? And obviously that's not a good look on him. But if he's still there, yes, he could get another shot at it for sure. But I don't think you go wrong offense or defense at the end of the day. But I'm gonna bring out this one name just for storyline purposes. Right? I know he might not have the best years, but the Chargers and the Chiefs are in the same division, and Eric Bieniemy going with Justin Herbert against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
I'm sure they're gonna are they look. Last thing on here, because we've been spent actually more time on this than the Bills. The Colts are now getting praised. Before they were getting clowned on taking 3-round interviews, the extensive search, and everything. Look what it led them. It got him Shane Steichen, who in my opinion, not being biased now, is coach of the year, probably, right? Especially if they make the playoffs, he should be coach of the year. Like I said, it's between him and D'Amico. So if I'm the Chargers, be patient with it. Look, every opportunity you get, right? Go look at maybe a Jim Bob Cooter if you want. Go look at
don't.
I'm just putting names out there, not being biased. Go look at a name like Ben Johnson or Brian Johnson, I think is his name, from Eagles now, offensive coordinator. You got obviously
Bengals offensive. Bengals offensive coordinator is Brian Callahan, right?
No,
he was also in the Colts thing, so he could be a good look there.
Here's the thing here. Frank Reich could be a good OC back as well. I don't think he's in a head coaching.
No, 100%.
So if Frank Reich wants to be back in some sort of way, familiarity with
but the thing with him is
with the Chargers,
he can't lead the offense because he was under Doug Peterson.
True.
So he has to be with the offensive guy.
And I that might be a bad name I just said, because I know Nick Shook has said it a lot. The offense is very boring, because if everybody said if this was Frank Reich's offense this year, we would not be this good. But just creativity wise. But I mean, I guess a name to prove himself again. He doesn't have to worry about other headaches. But your point's right there. But look everywhere and take your time. That's all I gotta say, right?
There's options. There are options, and you guys, you could be flexible, in my opinion.
All right. Speaking of the Colts, let's go to some of the
Saturday games,
and we'll lead that into the
Sunday.
Picture.
Well, just the week in general, games in general. We'll start off with the AFC side, and obviously
we'll start off with the Colts.
Bengals getting a big win over the Vikings.
All right, we're not starting off with the Colts.
I'm just quickly listing off the quick ones, and then Broncos losing to the Lions.
The Bengals one, let's just touch on it quick. It was a comeback.
It was a comeback win.
Jake Browning doing whatever he does.
He's doing Drake Browning things, right? Bengals are still alive, not dead in the water like we mentioned before. Yeah. They're on a 3-game win streak.
In the playoff spot.
Vikings are still alive. They're not out of it at all. Yes, Nick Mullins did some bad things, but he also did some really good things. So I do believe he is better. You have a better chance with him than Joshua Dobbs.
Or Jaren Hall, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, crushing loss for the Vikings. Definitely could be a big blow.
Jake, that touchdown was insane.
Yeah, and then Jake Browning, T. Higgins. Issue here now is T. Higgins is gonna need to be their number one because Jamar Chase has a separated shoulder.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any timeline yet, so we'll see for that. But another team that's in the playoffs, like we mentioned to it, Shane Steichen should be coach of the year. Indianapolis Colts. Ended the streak, started off bad, got a big that hit was brutal on Michael Pittman Jr., who got his 1,000 yards, but 1 reception away from 100. Don't know if he'll be in time for next game. Maybe that extra day will help.
Concussion protocol is is always
you lose.
It varies from player to player.
This game is the game where he's coach of the year because you have no JT, you lose Zach Moss,
you lose Pittman,
and you lose Pittman, right? And then you don't have Braden Smith. Now it helps that your O-line, especially Q, is playing
they played lights out,
like Pro Bowler again. Going against that defensive front. TJ Watt's arguably defensive player of the year again, right? Arguably, some people obviously have
Myles
Garrett. So they're the big win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are now who have no quarterback, anyways, right? At the end of the day,
could be back next week. If not, their playoff hopes are basically dead in the water. Yeah. Obviously, their offense is atrocious. They went up to they got one touchdown.
After that, 13. They were up 13-0, and after.
And I only counted as them scoring 7 because it was a punt block which stopped at the 1 yard.
Points after, and this is with Matt Gay pretty being bad.
3 for 5 on field goals as well for Matt Gay. But yeah, on the Colts side, right? Gardner Minshew's probably best game of the year.
Yes.
That one and the Titans one as well. Running game finally got going, which it hasn't been the last 2 weeks, which is also a big plus. And the O-line cooked. The wide receiver stepped up. Pierce made some good catches. DJ Montgomery had a drop in the end zone, but comes back with a touchdown catch himself. Mo Ali Cox stepped up. Like, players stepped up. And then on defensively, once it was 13-0, they just didn't allow anything.
Now, the bad news on the Colts side of things are the teams that needed to lose, except maybe for one or two, ended up coming back and winning. We mentioned the Bengals. The Cleveland Browns were up by down by 2 touchdowns and came back and beat the Bears. Darnell Mooney almost made that.
Incredible Hail Mary.
The Texans came back without C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell and won that game, and without Will Anderson as well. So this is why D'Amico Ryans is consideration. I'm not saying he's.
It's Steichen or D'Amico.
Yeah,
it's one or the other. And obviously, when it comes to that, we're gonna be a little biased. But they're both very deserving. They're 1 and 2. You just flip it over how you want. Same record. It really genuinely might come down to that last game.
Yeah.
It might, the last game might decide a playoff team, and might decide coach of the year.
It might be the Sunday Night Football game too.
Yeah.
We'll get to the playoff picture in a second here. Just finish off this one game. The Carolina Panthers. You should have maybe rode with them.
Yeah, I didn't.
Their upset pick.
Yeah, I played it safe because I'm actually
you're kind of leading.
I'm 1 point behind.
Yeah.
Right. So I just went with the majority. But yeah, they did. They pulled it off. The Falcons couldn't stretch their lead.
Yeah. Last bit of news, sorry. The Chiefs finally won against the Patriots. But this news, it's related to the Jets. Obviously, who ended up losing 30-0 to the Dolphins without Tyreek Hill. But Aaron Rodgers could be back in a couple of weeks. How much of this is publicity?
It's publicity, man. Right? He's not playing.
Yeah.
He's not playing.
It's just to get his name.
And if you're playing, you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
If you're playing.
Okay, so speaking of why he's going to be a dumbass, let's bring up the playoff picture. Obviously, we have a Sunday Night Football game that's almost at halftime right now, so that is not going to be as much included. We'll play hypotheticals with that.
But this is more for the 1 seed.
Currently,
basically.
Baltimore, Jaguars for the division.
As well, Jaguars for the division. Yeah.
Right, if they lose, it could. Obviously, they have the tiebreaker, but
they're still
the same record.
This is not going to be anything where they're going to miss the playoffs. Right?
Baltimore right now is obviously in the first spot. Miami second. Kansas City's third. Jacksonville is fourth. So those are your division leaders right now. Wildcard 1, Cleveland Browns still at 9-5. Joe Flacco is cooking.
Yeah.
He was cooked and then started cooking. Cincinnati Bengals is now in there with 8-6, and the Colts are 8-6. 8-6 Texans and 8-6 Buffalo Bills. All right. 7-7 Steelers, 7-7 Broncos.
So Broncos and Steelers got it really bad.
Broncos look like they were back to earth, to what you expected.
So did the Lions.
The teams that are
so did the Lions as well. They look like they were back to
the Jets are officially eliminated. I think the Titans should be officially eliminated because it's 8-9 is the highest.
Yeah, let's just get rid of those teams
and the Chargers.
And obviously the Chargers.
You want to still get rid of the Raiders?
Yes.
6-8.
Yes.
Okay, so
there's no chance.
Take that out. Actually, before we get to the playoff picture, let's just get this over with. Carolina, with a winner, still last place, which means Chicago gets that pick. New England is at 3-11, and Arizona is at 3-11, and Commanders 4-10. Right? Do you believe that Carolina could somehow come out of that last spot, so Chicago's sake here, when they play the Packers, Jaguars, and the Bucks?
No,
because Carolina controls Chicago's destiny here.
All 3 teams are fighting for something. And
New England has...
It's a different story if they're playing
New England has Broncos, Bills, Jets, if you're wondering. If that's
No, I don't think anything happens. I don't think anything changes.
So it's going to just ride out losses.
I don't see that, and it doesn't really matter because Carolina don't have their picks. So it doesn't really matter.
We're not going to talk about the Justin Fields situation.
But we'll talk about...
Back to the playoffs.
The teams that matter.
Okay. So we already know the playoff locks right now. Is Jacksonville a lock for you if they lose this game?
A playoff lock?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're still a playoff lock?
Yeah.
Okay. How much of a
Because if they lose this game, they're still first place with tiebreakers.
True.
Right. So, and with the remaining schedule, they have the Panthers.
But
and they have the Titans.
I don't know what the tiebreakers after, though.
They have the Panthers and the Titans.
Let's just say the Colts win next week and Jacksonville loses this and next week. I don't know what the tiebreaker is.
What do you mean what the tiebreaker is? So if Jaguars lose this week and next week,
yeah,
the Colts will be ahead of them by 1 game.
No, I'm talking about the wild card. So how are they a playoff lock?
That's conference records, and they're not losing next week. They're playing the Panthers.
True.
They're not losing next week, so don't even put that into conversation.
I mean, we kind of hope to do.
Well, obviously we hope to do, obviously. And
okay, so Steelers and Broncos. Let's just start there.
Steelers are done. Broncos have a chance because they could go 3-0 with the remaining schedule.
Patriots, Chargers, Raiders.
Yeah, so they could go 3-0. Steelers are done because they got the Bengals and the Browns as well. So yeah, they have to go 3-0. You have to, like I said, you have to be at least 10 wins.
Yeah.
I don't think they're getting 10 wins. The Broncos still could get 10 wins. Obviously, the Bills are in that conversation. So are the Texans. The thing with the Texans is they play the Browns
And we don't know CJ Stroud. I think he should be back this week.
next week. So that's going to be a big game. If the Browns win that game, the Texans might be in a dire spot. But at the end of the day, I think all the teams that are fighting need to go win out. Except for Cleveland, I think they could survive with 2 wins.
Yeah.
But everyone else, the Broncos, the Bengals, the Colts, the Bills, and the Texans all have to go 3-0. The thing is here, that's not possible because a lot of those teams play each other.
Baltimore loses this game. Cleveland's 1 game behind. So it's not even like there's a clear-cut division lead winner here except for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and that's because everyone else is bad. And that's not because the Chiefs are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, we're literally gonna be doing this for the last 3 weeks of the season. I think. Who's making the playoffs as of now? As of what you have seen.
As of now, I think Browns are a lock in there.
Okay.
That 1 game lead is gonna help them, and I think depending on what they do next week, the next 2 games will be big. Colts, they got 2 easy games, like 2 very winnable games.
But it's the Colts.
It is the Colts, and I do remember 2 years ago what happened with Carson Wentz.
Yeah. And we have Gardner Minshew, so it's not like we're confident.
But yeah, exactly. But I still think they'll get the job done there. So I think the Colts are still in.
Okay.
And I think the Bills get in.
So
right
Bengals
now.
fall?
So Bengals fall because Bengals got Pittsburgh, which obviously nothing really good. That they should win that game, in my opinion.
Chiefs.
But they got Chiefs and
Browns.
the Browns. And if Browns are playing for a division in the last week, it's not going to be an easy game.
They could still be playing for a playoff spot for all we know.
Yeah, and then
like to lock it.
And the Chiefs, they're going to be playing for the 1 seed, right? So those 2 last games are going to be a little bit tough. But if they lose to the Steelers, then I think they're done. Like from just then, I don't think they're going to make it.
Every aspect of this is like, is this the closest playoff race we've seen? Like,
yeah, 100%.
Like on the AFC side, no one's locked. I mean, I guess you could say someone's locked a position, but I'm saying like no one's like clinched a certain spot. You know what I mean? Like they're like just like if the Ravens win this game, I think they should make it. Well, actually no, because of the division. But outside of but there's no runaway. You know what I mean?
There's no runaway favorite.
Yeah, like there's no early lock. Like I guess the Chiefs could be the only lock, but if the Chiefs are a lock to make the playoffs, which they should be, once they officially lock it, they're not at a locked spot.
Ravens win, they clinch. By the way, as well.
Okay, so exactly. So if they but they're not locked at number 1 either.
Yeah, no, there's nothing locked. Yeah. Why did it take you that long to figure that out?
No,
explain that.
I'm trying to find a way to word it, man.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the NFC before we finish off with Monday Night Football. NFC, obviously, Eagles play Monday Night Football. We'll talk about that later. Niners, 11-3 first. Eagles are now second because of the Cowboys loss. The Lions are at third. I think they clinched a spot. And the Bucks are now 7-7 at 4. Those are your division leads. Cowboys 10-4, already locked. Don't even talk about them. But here it gets interesting. 7-7 Vikings, 7-7 Rams. Those are the 2 playoff spots right now. 7-7 Saints, and the Seahawks play tomorrow. So against the Eagles. So we don't know. Or I guess
they're
today
6-7.
So that could be a potential 7-7.
So Thursday Night Football next week is gonna be a big one. Rams Saints.
Yes.
Their Packers and Falcons are 6-8. The Giants and Bears are basically done now.
So yeah, 5 and down are done. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, Falcons and Packers. Do you give them a chance now of being 6-8? And say Seahawks lose 6-8.
Am I assuming Tampa's a lock or Saints win the division? Because
we'll say wild card. Yeah, we'll just say wild card. Don't put division. We'll say
wild card. Falcons, no. The only way to make it will be is to somehow win out and make the division.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give them consideration. Packers have been going back to. They came back to earth essentially. Like they flipped it. Like their season was a wave. They were like 3-0 to start, right, or something like that. 2-1, 3-0. Looked good, then they looked bad, and then ever since Thanksgiving they looked a little better, and now they're bad again. So I didn't realize I picked Tampa over them either.
So they lost 2 in a row. Obviously Giants and Bucks. The thing here is they got the Panthers next week.
Yeah.
right?
Vikings is tough.
Vikings is gonna be the
That's
game.
the game.
That's a decider.
That
That is the deciders. So Packers have a chance. Falcons
I give Packers more of a chance than the Falcons
in the wild card.
Yes.
But and if you're looking at it divisional wise, Falcons are still in it just because of the NFC South, and they're still one game behind off the division. The thing here is there's three spots. You have the NFC South, and then you have the 2 and 3 wildcard spot, right? So if you're looking at it in that perspective, I think the Rams, the way they're playing right now, should be a lock in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, bro, that was a classic Stafford Cup play, and I get it. They played Washington, but still.
Yeah. So, out of all the wildcard teams, and I'll throw in the Bucks as well. I'm the most confident in the LA Rams right now.
Same.
Right. So I think
you say that.
I think they should be a lock.
Like if you were to say a lock,
yeah, like they should make the playoffs. Like they're gonna be one of the wildcard teams.
Schedule because I'm not confident in them.
Oh yeah, I'm not confident in Vikings either.
2 Lions and Packers. I think Vikings fall.
Yeah, that's tough.
They might split the Lions, sure, and I guess it will come down to the Packers game if anything.
It really depends on.
Listen, okay.
The second Lions game.
Sorry, just to clarify, just for the sake of this, who's winning tomorrow or Monday in this case today?
I'm assuming Philly.
Okay, so let's just assume Seattle's a 6-8 now. All right, let's just assume that if that's the favorite, anyways. The Eagles, right? No, it depends if Jalen Hurts plays. Seattle, how much of a chance are you gonna give them then? Because they could close out easy. Cardinals, Steelers, and Titans. Obviously flip it, but like those are the 3 games remaining. Like it's Titans, then Steelers, and Cardinals.
Yeah.
That Steelers.
Hey man, Titans are still a tough team to beat.
True.
Yes, their record doesn't show it, but they are a tough team to beat.
Oh no, I get that.
Yeah.
But in that Steelers game, it could be a fight for both ways, right? Like one of them needs to win the game.
Exactly.
Unless they tie, but.
Yeah, I mean Seahawks are still tough.
I'll give
with tiebreakers as well. Like the Rams, should be in.
I'm giving the wild card spots to the Saints and the Rams.
Yeah.
Right, because we already know Dallas or Philly is a lock at that one spot, anyways. So out of the 2 remaining spots, I'm giving it to the Saints and the Rams. I want to see the Saints schedule.
If they're assuming Bucks are winning the division.
Whoever doesn't win the division out of that 2, because that Bucks Saints game will come down to it. And I know the Rams are playing the Saints.
The fact that the Rams are playing the Saints, I think Packers might sneak in still, in my opinion.
Okay, I think we should come back to this after the Thursday.
Yeah,
probably. I think next week will be determined. But
if the I
haven't looked at the schedules properly.
Because here's the thing. My reasoning for the Packers: they beat the Panthers. One of the Rams or Saints is losing, right? Which means they're at the same record again. The Packers play the Vikings after that.
Yeah.
Right. So this is why I think the Packers could make it still. So if I'm going with a prediction right now, let's just say Bucks. Like I'm not going to predict the NFC South just because I don't know who's going to win the division still. But my 2 wildcard teams, I'm going with the Rams and Packers. And obviously Cowboys or Eagles, whoever is the 5th seed.
Yeah, if that's the case, I think the Rams beat the Saints Thursday, so that drops them to 7 and 8. And you're saying the Vikings will lose to the Packers. So
yeah.
They're both now 7 and 8.
I have more faith in the Packers team right now. Yeah.
Do I still put Seattle in? Is the question. So I don't think the Vikings make it. So I'm gonna take that out. It's just Seattle's last 3 games are on the easiest out of all the teams right now, especially that they're not playing each other. Right?
Yeah.
Like Seattle's playing the Titans, and they have nothing. They might even just rest a bit. Who knows? Not saying the players, but But to your point, they're going to be a tough team to beat. The Steelers are playing for something, but it doesn't affect them directly.
Well, those games do matter.
It matters, right? But like
that doesn't make their schedule easy, because if they're playing for something, they're still paying for something.
True, I get that, but the other guys get affected by each other win and loss, right? These guys don't. Like these guys can still close out 3-0, and it benefits them the most.
Well, obviously, yeah.
So I might
like if they finish 3-0, like obviously it's gonna benefit them.
I might go Rams Seahawks.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I'm not arguing that.
Just because of that Seahawks schedule. Like I'm going Rams Seahawks. And they're not gonna be able to clock it.
10-0 halftime score there. But yeah, let's shift our focus back to Monday Night Football. Playoff picture, yes.
So here
quickly, head scratcher. It's really hard to predict. Very close.
We'll get a better picture next weekend.
Yeah, we will genuinely after next week. But obviously, makes sense because we're gonna have 2 games left in that case.
Yeah.
But it's still gonna be tough, like to predict at the end of the day. Like there's a lot of teams.
Because I think what makes it tough is that they're playing each other. I didn't take that into account. Like I really want to say Saints and Rams because they're playing each other. To your point, who knows, right? And Seahawks have the easier schedule. But with Monday Night Football, question marks here. They flexed this game into Monday night, so a lot of fans were pissed because it's a different day, especially Eagles fans because they got to travel. They flexed it to a potential Marcus Mariota versus Drew Lock match. Potential.
Yeah.
Obviously, both teams need a win here. Actually, both teams just need a win here. Eagles looking to get out of their rut and try to get the top seed if they can. Not even just division, but conference. Obviously, Seattle fighting for a playoff spot. Like my Seattle prediction might be right if they win today, I guess, because it's coming on Monday. But Gino, I think might play, but Jalen Hurts did climb the flight. Like he did hop on a flight. Like he did. There is pictures of him hopping on a different flight.
Yeah.
He is questionable. Now, if Jalen Hurts is playing, I will go Eagles. Obviously, I think they're the more. I would say definitely with them losing the 2 games in a row they lost, I think they're going to come out even hungrier. But like I said in our superlatives, I said this is the potential upset for Seattle still because, just because this is a game. Because Seattle's also on a losing streak as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't like one of those trap games or anything like that either. So I won't be surprised if the Seattle Seahawks win. Does this change for you though if whoever on the quarterback side of things?
I mean, yeah.
How are you ranking the 4
I think Drew Lock is better. From what I've seen in Drew Lock this year, I think he had a little quarter.
For you, it's Hurts.
1 quarter against I forgot who they played, but he looked really good that quarter. Like
San Francisco as well, but
in San Francisco he wasn't bad, right? And
honestly, Seattle's games they kept it close with the Cowboys, right?
Yeah, they did.
And then San Francisco game, the first 3 quarters were close. It wasn't until the 4th quarter, I believe.
There's the second San Francisco game. The first San Francisco game they got blown.
The second. The most.
But no, I'm going with obviously Jalen, Gino, Locke, and then Mariota.
So, if it's Gino versus I guess no, because you have Mariota last. Anyways.
Yes.
So, okay, so Jalen's not healthy, and he still plays. Like, do you like? I picked the Eagles to win this game. Like, I'm gonna get that quick, assuming that they were all playing. But this sickness factor is kind of throwing my prediction off. Like, I won't be surprised if they still win the game with Mariota because the Seahawks defense has fallen off from the beginning of the year. Don't think like Tariq Woolen can't tackle because he got benched recently too. I think Witherspoon was injured last week. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it's a tough one, right? Because like obviously there's implications on the line. Like this is an easy prediction. Like if I'll still stick with the Eagles, even if
I'm sticking with the Eagles. Yeah,
I think I trust the Eagles defense more than the Seahawks defense right now, and they could force Gino to do stuff, and then the O-line factor as well. I feel
Seattle's
like Mariota could run too.
Seattle's O-line is not good.
That's
I'm not even genuinely look at the quarterbacks. I'm just gonna genuinely look at everything around them. Yeah, right. Like, yes, obviously if Jalen Hurts plays, it's gonna help, and obviously if Gino plays, it's gonna help, right? But if it's a Drew Lock Mariota matchup, the game plan is get the ball out of their hands.
Okay, which
playmakers are gonna show up for both sides?
Okay, so
that's where the question is.
How are you gonna go with that?
Gino Mariota, it's the same thing.
So you're still gonna ride with the Eagles that way too?
For that one, I'll give it to the Seahawks, though.
Okay, so it's not Eagles for you straight.
Huh?
So it's not Eagles for you.
If it's Gino, because I know Mariota is gonna do something to mess it up, right?
Now the difference is Mariota's in a team that is like,
bro. I seen Mariota play in the preseason. He was bad.
Yeah,
he was really bad, bro.
I'll still go with the Eagles just because I trust their what's the word?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's still the Eagles.
It's like that.
It's still when you're looking at general, like it's gonna be the Eagles.
Yeah,
and we're just assuming that Hurts is healthy, and we're assuming everyone's healthy. It's the Eagles, right? There's no debate in that.
All right, let's move on. We got baseball news. While you search up the few signings that actually happened, we're kind of rolling here. Jays pick it up, but we're going back to the
Glass now trade.
yeah. So
Right. So we're gonna be Glass
I
now.
was gonna say the Dodgers. We're going back to the Dodgers. They
Glasnow
officially
and-
traded. Okay, so a trade
yeah.
was made, right? I have the trade up here. Rays were trading Glasnow for and Manuel Margot to the Dodgers in a 4-player trade, but on contingency of if Glasnow signs an extension. The next day, Glasnow officially signed the 5-year, $135 million deal, which makes the trade official. So, so now the Dodgers got Tyler Glasnow and outfielder Manuel Margot, and the Rays got Ryan Pepio and outfielder Johnny DeLuca. This is according to obviously Jeff Passan. And the trade is official because of the contract extension.
Yeah, so obviously this adds to the rotation, especially when they're in the Yamamoto chase as well. Walker Buehler, depending on what to do with Kershaw as well. But
Do you
they kind of have like a, huh?
Do you believe Kershaw comes back?
Yeah,
Assuming
on
they
a
get
1 year.
Yamamoto.
On a 1 year. If they get Yamamoto, I think it'll be difficult. If they don't, I think he will be back.
Okay.
But yeah, Glasnow and Buehler are capable of being your leaders in that rotation, especially Glasnow. We know what he could do, especially pre Tommy John. I think the year when he like got injured for it, right, or needing surgery, that year I think he was the leading Cy Young case candidate. Like it was a genuine thing. Like he was almost unhittable in that stretch. So obviously, we'll see how he could recover there. Walker Buehler coming back is going to be a big. They've added a decent, like Manuel Margot is a decent outfield bat, is an upgrade of what they had.
Yeah.
And I think Jason Hayward, I don't think he's an everyday player. James Outman's a good young center fielder. Obviously Gavin Lux, who was injured last year, is their shortstop replacement, who has been pretty good. So that's why I don't think letting Seager and Trey Turner walk wasn't like, they weren't too concerned of that, because I think they believe in Gavin Lux. And everyone else we already know. Mookie, we already know Freeman, we know Muncy. So, and obviously we know Otani. So this team is getting more well-rounded, like we've asked them to be, and they've made a couple moves here, and I don't think they're done. I don't think
Yamamoto, right? Yamamoto. Anything else for the Dodgers side of things?
Yeah, that's me. I don't think they're done,
Yeah.
and they become more well-rounded.
The reason why they're not going to be done is because the Yamamoto stakes are opening, and Yamamoto has met with the Mets, which it's kind of weird to me, because I get it, he's young, so that's why you go after him. But on the Yamamoto side of things, they're supposedly said they're going to be wasting their first year, right? So like the incentive there isn't for him to sign, but he wants to be in New York, so that if he gets the most money, the Mets, Steve Cohen's rich, and we've seen him blow money in the past. Other than that, he's meeting with the Yankees today on Sunday, and then I don't know if he has already met with the Dodgers, and then I think I said there's like 4 or 5 teams. Blue Jays are considered a finalist. I don't trust it, especially I'm not even just saying because of the Otani stuff. I just think he's going to be, based on the reports I see, he wants to be on the big baseball market team. Let's put it that way, because Toronto is still a big market. You have a whole country behind you, so it still makes no sense to me why people think no one wants to play here or whatever the case may be. But so that's the Yamamoto update. But there's other signings that happened. The Royals made signings.
Royals, Tigers first of all signed Jack Flaherty. This is obviously a good 1 year, $14 million
So this
contract.
Puts pressure. That's a prove-it deal. This puts pressure on the Orioles now to go get a pitcher one way or another.
Yes, for sure. Other things that happened as well. Royals signed Michael Wacha and outfielder Hunter Renfroe. Good veterans to add to their young lineup.
Trade deadline pieces as well.
From that too. That could be in
both
effect
teams
there.
are like both players are playing on their like 6th or 7th teams respectively within the
Yeah.
first 6 years.
And then Diamondbacks bring back Lourdes Gurriel Jr. on a 3-year, $42 million contract. Lourdes Gurriel, I think, had one of his career years, I would say, or definitely one of his better years.
He was an all-star.
He was an all-star, so yeah, they retained from that, I guess. They didn't lose from that trade, from Varsho trade. They brought in Lourdes and they brought in Gabby Moreno, and they were able to retain Lourdes Gurriel Jr. So it's kind of, they are like one of their sneaky good off seasons, in my opinion, the Diamondbacks, with the additions and re-signings they made so far.
Yeah, if the moves don't happen this week, I don't think they're happening until the new year. I mean, Christmas is coming up. New Year's is
who
coming
knows?
up. So this is the week I'm giving it to see names like Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, Cody Bellinger, Jorge Soler, and all these guys, right? And the teams that we're watching, obviously the Blue Jays aside, the Seattle Mariners need to make moves, the Baltimore Orioles need to make moves on that side of things. On the NL side of things, it could be the Braves are making moves. San Francisco already made a move, so I guess more so Philly, if they want to upgrade anything.
No, I think Philly's fine. They don't really have to do too much. But yeah, no, the main ones are Toronto, obviously Blue Jays, the Mariners, and the Orioles, in my opinion, for sure, especially on the AL side.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay, so awards. MLB, all teams have been announced first and second, also as well as the Hank Aaron Award. I think the Hank Aaron Award was
Ronald Acuna
and Shohei Ohtani, so not surprising there. We're a little annoyed with one of these picks as Jays fans, but here's the first team. No real surprises, but it's Adley Rutschman at catcher, Freddie Freeman first baseman, Marcus Semien second base, Corey Seager shortstop, Austin Riley third base, Ronald Acuna, Corbin Carroll, and Mookie Betts put out the outfield, and then DH Shohei Ohtani. No surprise on the hitting side for you?
No.
Okay, pitching, Garrett Cole, Blake Snell, Zach Gallen, Shohei Ohtani, Spencer Strider, Josh Hader, Felix Bautista.
Well, yeah. For me, I thought Gosman would have been in there because he was in the Cy Young rankings over Shohei Ohtani. So that's probably the only concern.
That's a surprise.
Yeah.
You know what's a surprise to me? I thought Emmanuel Clase would have made it over Hader.
No, not really too much of a surprise.
I guess both teams missed.
The both teams are bad.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I'll take that back. But yeah, no, Kevin Gosman, I don't give a shit.
But the point here is the guy who finished second is not on this list either, which is Sonny Gray.
True. Like, how is Shohei on this?
Yeah.
If he wasn't a finalist for a Cy Young.
Yeah, I don't understand
That's
that.
what I don't understand, right?
Whereas the NL guys, like Strider was a finalist. Snell won it.
And Gallen.
Yeah, Gallen was in the conversation as well.
How is Shohei over... I guess, okay, but logically then Sonny Gray is the snub because he finished second. Obviously, I still think Kevin Gosman should be on there. That's more biased, but I didn't realize Sonny Gray wasn't on here.
Yeah, so it was just basing it off logic there.
Where are you signing it, brother?
Sonny Gray is St. Louis.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Second team hitters, Jonah Heim, catcher, Matt Olson, first base, second base, Ozzy Albies, shortstop, Francisco Lindor, J-Ram, Jose Ramirez at third base, outfielders, Adolis Garcia, Aaron Judge, Kyle Tucker, and DH is Jordan Alvarez. Aaron Judge, deserving? Or is it because of injury?
I mean, he wasn't bad. Like, he was still Aaron Judge.
Then shortstop-wise, do you have an issue with Lindor over...
I thought Bichette was better than Lindor this year, personally. Like, I might be missing on, like, another shortstop in general.
Yeah.
But if I'm comparing Bichette and Lindor directly, I thought Bichette had the better year.
Kyle Tucker...
Yes, he's in there, 100%.
No. I guess he can't make first team.
He's not making first team, yeah.
Second team pitchers, obviously, Kyle Bradish, Kevin Gosman, Nathan Eovaldi, Sonny Gray, Jordan Montgomery, Emmanuel Clase, relief pitcher, and Devin Williams, relief pitcher. And we mentioned the Hank Aaron Awards, Shohei Ohtani, Ronald Acuna. But any surprises from the pitchers?
No,
anyone that you think that could have made it, but may have some love?
Nothing. I don't really see it. I think it's fine. Just probably some shuffling from first team and second team. Only one I consider was Bo Bichette as a Blue Jays fan, but anything else, like obviously Tatis could have been a conversation as well.
Soto.
Yeah, but I guess it's fair. I think it's a fair list.
All right. So we'll close the MLB there. We'll get into some quick fires. We'll start off with UFC. UFC 296 finished up yesterday. We have some thoughts, but we didn't watch the whole card. But based on what we saw, we were home in time to watch the main event.
Obviously, we have thoughts on the main event, but we'll just quickly go over the undercard quickly. Pantoja retains. Good performance by him.
Like a dominant fashion.
Yeah. Ferguson got dominated by Paddy Pimblett. Coin rose now, I guess, for him. But Pimblett made sure that his last fight wasn't a fluke and absolutely destroyed Tony Ferguson. And was there another one?
Yeah, the Shafkat guy. We gotta talk about him.
Yeah, that one.
That's because obviously it was a brutal knockout in the first fight. Let me just get the actual thing up here. It's but before we bring it up, Tony Ferguson, is he gonna continue fighting till he wins, or is he gonna get cut? I don't think he gets cut if Donald Cerrone's been there for a long time.
Yeah, that's not a good streak he's on. 7 now, 7 fight lose streak. So
okay, so it was Emmett KO'd Mitchell with the overhand right.
Yeah, that was the first fight of the night.
And then we already mentioned Paddy Pimblett destroying Tony Ferguson. The third fight was the welterweight, which is, we'll get to the main event welterweight, is Shavkat Rakhmonov, rear naked choke on Stephen Sweet Hands Thompson. Obviously, the nickname tells himself he was a knockout guy. And I think Rakhmonov is undefeated.
Yeah,
that's
so
the big factor here.
Even the guy growing in the welterweight division right now.
And then, and obviously that was the determining factor there. Main event though, Edwards Covington. Obviously, Joven said he wanted to change his prediction once he heard the press conference stuff.
Yeah.
Leon Edwards ultimately ended up winning 49-46. Honestly, it could have been 50 if he was just not being, He
was being a little bit like, I want to be
better than you at your own game.
Yeah, type of thing. That's approach he took.
That's thought number one. Let's talk about that for a second. Leon Edwards, I felt like because of that, what Kobe said about his dad and his passing.
We thought it would be like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. So I didn't expect him to go in and try to beat you in your own game. Even though he did a decent job at it, to be fair. But at certain points, you could have gone screwed over. Like if the 5th round happened in the 4th round type of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people had okay, this guy should have came out and actually killed the guy essentially, and then after the fight,
or mentality,
that type of thing, like Khabib McGregor, right? Okay, so that's the Leon side of things. I think Leon at points I'm like, oh, he's definitely an underrated pound for pound guy. Except this is the reason why.
Yeah, obviously, the overall look on it wasn't the best on from Leon's, but when you're looking at the fight,
but he dominated.
When you're looking at the fight in general, it was Leon's to lose at the end of the day.
Here's the issue I have with which we're gonna talk about in a second. But Colby Covington, obviously, first of all, you say all that shit and then do nothing in the first 3 rounds. You're known for a guy. Again, this is just 2 casual fans at the moment speaking, because we never watched much of Colby Covington in the past. But when we watched the second Usman fight, he was putting on the pressure. It was a close fight, right? This one wasn't a close fight from the first 3 rounds. The only way he would have won was by submission or KO, right? No pressure, no takedown attempts really, except for one pathetic one. So on and so forth. And even the commentators were like, okay, this is not Colby Covington. Everybody assumed Colby Covington, the old, coming in. And before we talk about the layoff, you come out after the fight. You obviously, I get it. You're supposed to put your hand up and whatever, but you went a little too nuts thinking you won the fight. That's number one. Number two, when Rogan was asking you the questions, you're too busy promoting Trump rather than talking about the fight. It just felt like this was a whole promotional stunt for Trump, if anything, right? It's I'm here, whatever. It was an easy fight. I have no scratches on my face. Clearly, there's a nose, a massive cut on his nose, or
a long cut on his nose.
There's a cut on his nose. Easy fight. Clearly not, because you would have won the fight. You can't say blame ring rust, which we'll talk about in a second. And then you're just too busy promoting America and Trump. I don't care who you vote for. We're not political guys. You do you, America. If you're watching this, I'm not saying he should have not done that, but the way he's done that, I said he should have not done that at that moment, just because it just felt like it was a promotional stunt.
That's Kobe. That's his
That's his.
Honestly, I'm not surprised it happened.
Yeah, I know. I'm not surprised, but I think it was just dumb.
I thoughts on a 2-year layoff was it showed. Genuinely showed.
Even if you're coming back from a fight after 2 years is tough. Look at Nate Diaz. He versed Leon Edwards. It wasn't for the belt. It showed. Nick Diaz, when he came back, it showed against Robbie Lawler, right? We had Henry Cejudo, and now that's just not in title fights. Let's talk about title fights. What does Colby Covington have in the last 2 years? Beating Jorge Masvidal? And that's just because Usman's out of the picture doesn't mean you get an automatic spot, right? Look, and it clearly showed. He admitted it to it himself, Colby Covington.
Dana White did as well.
Henry Cejudo, same thing with Aljo. Against Aljo, I mean.
But the thing with the Cejudo one was Cejudo
he retired a champ, but I get that.
No, but he was close. And he retired.
I get that.
And he retired champ. So
at the end of the day,
that kind of makes sense.
There wasn't
what happened.
It wasn't a big debate of no one was surprised Aljo won that fight either.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't a robbery for Cejudo, right? My point is, get a tune-up fight. Look what Conor did. And I get it, he lost to Poirier after, but he fought Donald Cerrone, Cowboy Cerrone, before when he came back the first time.
Yeah.
He came back after boxing, got his ass kicked by Khabib. And then he went out after that. He obviously then ended up losing to Poirier. Now we're still waiting for him. But on the other side of things, the only guy is this why he's considered the GOAT? John Jones? Because he's the only one I've seen done it.
Well, yeah, that's
Come
true.
back and destroyed Cyril Gane within a round.
Yeah, 100%. And a different weight class as well.
So that's my issue with it. Hopefully Dana learns from it. Like I get it, as he's probably gonna have the same thing.
Yeah, I don't have issues with the Cejudo one just because one, it was a good fight,
And he retired a champ.
and he was the champ.
I guess because like it helps.
He never lost a belt.
Aljo was never considered like that guy to many people's eyes. But I think Leon had a more respect than Aljo did in the scene, in my opinion.
Yeah, but Kobe doesn't had done anything. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right. You give him a title shot against Kamaru, he lost at the end of the day. Right.
He's 0-3. Like he's literally Gaethje.
Exactly.
Gaethje at least won the interim.
Exactly. Yeah. But let's move on.
UFC one more news.
Yeah.
The 299 card is announced, and the card, I think the fight that was Ian Gary couldn't fight this one. He's gonna fight in that one. 299 on March 9th. That's the headliner fight. Is Chito Vera rematch Sean O'Malley for the bantamweight, and there's like certain guy. Michael Venom Page, also known as MVP, the guy who also trained with KSI.
Yeah.
Same fight stance and everything, is signed with the UFC, which was kind of weird because I think I got a notification that he signed with PFL, and it wasn't the case. But there were rumors that he was gonna come back, and he is fighting Kevin Holland. Gilbert Burns is also back. He's fighting Della Maddalena. Ian Gary's fighting Neil, and then Jan is back, fighting Song.
Yeah.
And
I remember that one being made.
Yeah, going back to UFC 296. Sorry, very very quickly. Bilal Muhammad should be the next fighter. I know Shavkat might have a chance. I think they're saying
It's Bilal Muhammad.
but it has to be Bilal Muhammad.
He said it perfectly. That fight was a joke, and
yeah,
he deserves his shot next. And a quick note point is Strickland and
they fought.
I can't even pronounce the name.
Duplessis.
Are already fighting.
Similar vibes to this Kobe Leon situation from the presser.
Yeah, but this is physical altercations.
Oh
So,
no, I mean
yeah.
I think there was words said in the presser.
There was words as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they will be the first pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view fight.
January.
The first UFC fight of the
something.
year will be the first weekend of January, which is Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker.
Yeah, that's just on fight night.
Yeah.
As well.
Okay, let's get to the NHL first. Very quickly, shout out Winnipeg Jets. The South Asian night, they did the O Canada national anthem. Half of it in Punjabi, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And English. Again, I don't know why people have an issue with it. If you're that patriotic, mainly non-Punjabis, I guess. If this was done in Chinese, if this was done in Spanish, French, any other language, Hindi, don't care, because it's just.
They're just honoring a night,
They're
man.
literally preaching multiculturalism. They did not butcher the words. Like, they still started off with "O Canada."
Yeah.
And even like we know Punjabis, and when we listen back to it, I don't think they really.
It was similar. Like it was.
They didn't butcher Canada and
Yeah.
if that's what you're scared of.
Nothing happened. So relax.
Yeah. But
Right.
shout out to Winnipeg for doing that. South Asian night over there. You guys killed it. NHL, let's just go very quickly. I don't think much has changed, honestly.
It's the same picture, same thing right now. The teams that are playing good are playing good.
The surprise team is still the Philadelphia.
Flyers are still there. The thing with the NHL is like obviously you had the Oilers going on their run and all that stuff as well. But like the top teams are still the top teams. Like you still have Vegas up there, you have the Canucks up there, you have the Rangers up there, Bruins, Kings, all these guys, Jets, right? I think Jets might be in a division. They're taking a division lead.
Yeah, they have right now.
Yeah, all three.
There's a 3-way tie.
Yeah.
But
But other than that, nothing really happened in the NHL. It's still the same picture.
Arizona's in a wild card spot.
They were in the last time too, so it's the same picture.
Oh, I thought St. Louis was there. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, and then
The streak Edmonton's going on is insane, but they're still in the same spot.
yeah, that's
And
true.
now Anaheim has fallen below San Jose.
That's wild.
I guess no. Well, they haven't updated, but it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
the same range. Washington is falling off though. And okay, we gotta talk about this though very quickly. Will Mike Sullivan be fired this year at some point?
I don't think during, maybe at the end.
Even if they're falling like this. This is a team that you traded Erik Karlsson for, and you're gonna be paying him a certain percentage of the money.
Yeah, I think.
I think he'll get fired if they continue losing, especially. If they lost last
That's
week.
like every coach. Then.
But no,
yeah.
I'm just like, but obviously it depends.
Yeah, that's like
But,
every struggling
you're
team.
saying like he's gonna be fine till the off season.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he'll get fired by considering how the teams have been doing after they fire their coach.
But the thing is this, like, when you fire, like, nothing's really gonna happen. Like, the coach, like, when you do it, like, it's better to do it in November and December than it is in February.
Well, I know, because like
yeah. So I'm just thinking of the time period is kind of like it's kind of getting late, and I don't think they're gonna fire him in December.
Yeah, I think I think they will, honestly, because I think the patience is not there for a lot of these guys. They won't look at it because at the end of the day, they're like 7 points out. So any type of bump right now would still be beneficial because they're 500.
That's true.
I still think they're gonna look at that Edmonton and like what Minnesota did and be like, okay, let's bank on this. Because at the end of the day, Boudreaux was close as well. But Boudreaux's situation when he first came in was way worse than what Pittsburgh is in now.
Yeah.
Even last year, when.
But I still think I still think it's gonna.
Obviously,
they're gonna ride with him.
I know you're gonna say DJ Smith will be the next coach fired.
Yeah.
But I think you have to put consideration that Mike Sullivan will be one of those two coaches.
Obviously, it's consideration.
Like,
but
if
I think
I get a noti tomorrow, I will not be surprised.
I'm just looking. Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm just looking at the situation right now. Like, they've been up and down, right? Obviously they're on the downtrend right now.
Yeah.
And I just think the time period is getting a little bit later. I do not believe it's in December. I'll be surprised if it is tomorrow. I'll be honest. Yeah. But if it's like next month,
I said I won't be surprised.
I'll be surprised if it is tomorrow. But I just think in January, if it starts going to January, February, All-Star break, I just think they're like, okay, we should just suck it up and ride it out.
The other reason why I won't be surprised, I get it, ownership has a stake, and Mike Sullivan's been a great coach for them. Dubas is the guy in charge, and it's not Dubas' choice now, right? So there's things with that. Okay, let's go over to the NBA. Not much has changed there as well. I guess one thing has changed. The Spurs streak did end, and I was right. It would have been one of the Lakers.
It's one of the Lakers games.
It was the second Laker game. So they're now at 4 wins. Ja Morant will be back in a game.
Yes.
In one game. So this.
That's gonna be a big bump.
Ja's game will be most likely December 21st.
That'll be a big bump for the Grizzlies.
Okay, so
getting their superstar back.
Question for you: the game we played last time, stay or in this case go up. They're 6-18. They're currently 7 games out of the play-in. Are they gonna stay out of the playoff spot or play-in spot, or will Ja be a big help and get him?
Ja's gonna be a big help.
If it helps, if it helps the teams in the play-in right now, or the
it doesn't help.
Lakers,
I think they're going up.
Okay, so the Rockets are falling off for you.
Yeah.
But Golden State's also out.
Yeah, so it could be between them and Golden State for the last play-in spot right now at the moment.
Okay.
You're getting your freaking franchise player back. Something is gonna happen on the good side, as Jaguars score touchdown right now.
Okay. Other side of things, Detroit. 2. You were surprised that you saw 2 wins though. You thought they had more wins.
Well, obviously it's weird when you see 2-24. Like I'm not. I wasn't surprised. It was just like.
Okay, so you get this.
It was just like, how irrelevant are you?
To have the so the deadline's coming up. It's gonna be Thursday, right? This coming Thursday. That's when we said the
Utah game, right?
Yeah, the Utah game. Here's the thing though. For them to beat that record or what we saw on TV a couple of days ago, it comes down to your game against them on the 30th. If they break the streak or they beat the record, it comes down to the Raptors on December 30th. And here's the other thing. Because it's December 30th, they could go 2 months without a win. On top of that. A lot rides on your team if it continues. If it continues.
Yeah. Well, obviously a lot rides on the Pistons' sake.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I wouldn't say this is like a marquee matchup to watch.
So I guess we'll revisit this next week once we see
like Raptors Pistons. Like, okay, yeah. And by the way, we'll probably lose as well.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, nothing really surprising. Miami, I guess. Orlando is a 16-9 still.
Oh yeah, it's the same picture for both sides.
Honestly, one thing I love about the sports picture and all sports, literally we've talked about so far, and we'll get to soccer in a second. Everything, and I know this is early goings, but everything is neck and neck. Pretty much neck and neck. In standings, right? So that's the one. Parity is insane. Whether like NFL season hasn't been the greatest in terms of like the wow factor really this year as much as it was years before,
but it's been close.
Like everything from the
it's been
minus
tight,
the
close.
Rookie of the Year races has been pretty much close in the NFL.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like any award race as well.
Yeah.
But let's go on to and let's end it off with some soccer. First of all, we gotta give our prayers. The Luton Town game was abandoned due to their player,
Their
Tom
captain.
Lockyer.
Their captain. man.
Locker.
Their captain.
Captain.
Yeah.
Luton Town captain was in a stable. He is in stable condition, but he did suffer a cardiac arrest that led to his side Premier League clash against Bournemouth being abandoned on Saturday at the 65th minute with a score of 1-1. He suddenly fell to the turf in a worrying scene. I did not go back and see this, but he is in stable condition. But I still think he's in the hospital. I think Luton put a statement out earlier. This hasn't been obviously the first case. The most famous one everybody knows was Christian Eriksen, and the NFL people know about DeMar Hamlin. So get well soon, Tom Lockyer.
Yeah, and shout out to the players for recognizing the situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, they did well in the Christian Eriksen, like the Denmark players as well.
Yeah.
And then shout out to the medical training staff, because at the end of the day, you're at a soccer game, right? Obviously, you're gonna have to deal with any situation, but you're dealing with the most dire situation possible.
And shout out for not forcing him to play after like 2 hours.
Yeah, that too. And then the thing, just shout out for that training staff, like on all of them, like the Buffalo Bills one for DeMar Hamlin, and Denmark for Christian Eriksen, because you're not trained to. Obviously, you're trained to do everything, right? That we get that, but you're doing something that's the most dire situation. Is the thing that happens less common in football compared to like ankle injuries and all that stuff.
He also collapsed during Luton Town's championship playoff final win against Coventry at Wembley in May. So this is obviously not the first time for him, I guess. The Wales international was taken to hospital and later underwent heart surgery. The 29-year-old had an operation to correct an atrial fibrillation, a condition in the UK's National Health Service describes as causing an irregular and often abnormally fast heart rate. So I guess it makes sense. You're playing top-level football at the same time.
Yeah.
Return to action to the start of Luton's first season in the top flight for 31 years. So this year. Made 15 appearances so far. Our thoughts and are with Tom Lockyer and all players involved in today's match. This is what the Premier League wrote. And same from us. Thoughts are to his family. Get well soon. We'll love to see you on the pitch whenever it's done so. Obviously, the most recent one was also Bronny James.
As well.
So, and that's at a young age. So, scary situations. You don't want to see this.
Yeah, you don't want to see it, obviously, yeah.
Okay, let's go to the happier note here. You're wearing a Man United jersey for a reason, but not because we won. We did not get our ass kicked, but we drew. Liverpool. That was obviously the biggest game of the weekend. As I mentioned before, the title race is insane.
Yeah, you got Arsenal leading by 1 point with Liverpool and Villa behind at 38. Arsenal being at 39.
Liverpool
Arsenal,
on the goal difference.
Arsenal beating Brighton and obviously Aston Villa getting their win. But Liverpool, Man United game. Liverpool were definitely not at their best, which obviously helps Man United's case. But at the end of the day, we were coming in, we're like, okay, 4-0, something like that's going to happen, right? Maybe even a 7-0 repeat, maybe more, right? But that did not happen. So credit to United, credit to Ten Hag as a defensive team. Emphasis on defensive, because attacking-wise, you're still utter shit.
Second half was better.
Yeah,
I guess it helped.
Even though
it doesn't help when we're not having Bruno.
But I thought that part helped the defensive side.
I thought the bigger loss would have been, I'm not saying would have been Shaw, right? Like if he weren't able to play this game.
Yeah.
And Luke Shaw obviously kept Mo Salah very limited. Obviously Mo Salah had his moments to set something up, but like obviously Darwin Nunez going to do it. Like I knew that like with Maguire going out, I had faith in Varane, right? Johnny Evans is still playing well.
He's played well. Like, obviously, it does suck because you're not having chemistry with your center back partnerships, and it obviously isn't going to take an effect. But like, Maguire has played well, Varane has played well, and Evans has played well. Obviously, Shaw, the back four in general, all played amazing. Dallo got a bullshit red.
We'll talk about the red in a second. I'll have thoughts about that.
But that'll be like quick reaction there later on. Kobe Mainu and Amrabat. Yes, Amrabat
questionable.
Was questionable. He was good in the second half. First half, obviously, he wasn't the best. He was getting beat. But
Kobe Mainu, man, 18-year-old, held his own in Anfield. Kept like a 0-0 draw. One of the big factors.
I think the partnership between Amrabat and Mainu in general helped keep the midfield.
This draw will not help Mainu because McTominay will still hold the spot over him. Or, I guess, or Amrabat. One of those two will be falling out of the lineup.
And I do believe yes, Amrabat, let's say he didn't have his best game in the first half, especially, but you could tell the structure was still there when he and Mainu was in. Whereas you see your previous games, aka Bournemouth, Amrabat was so isolated with Bruno and McTominay on the pitch. So yes, obviously we don't know any of like Eriksen or Casemiro, all these are coming back. But at the moment, if you're looking at your best defensive structure and try to get rid of those gaping holes in midfield, Amrabat and Mainu should be your center mids partnership, and obviously Bruno playing cam, because Bruno's not good as an 8. He can't defend well good enough in the midfield. And then McTominay, all you want to do is score goals, so obviously he's gonna be running up the field every single chance he gets.
If he had Mason Mount in this game, I think it would have been a lot. I think he would have helped in that 10 role more than McTominay. Obviously,
we're not saying McTominay played bad.
Yeah,
we're not saying that, but we're saying as an attacking threat, obviously it kind of is limited
he's
when you have
playmaker.
Yeah, when you have like 3 center mids and no real cam.
That being said, though, I think obviously when Casemiro comes back, it should be Casemiro, Mainu, and Bruno. And just
I agree with that.
I think everybody right now is kind of happy. Maybe Amrabat did not sign the full
permanent transfer.
And who knows? I have slight faith in him. I don't know if it's just a structure. Like, I hope he plays better, obviously, because I want it to
also
be
it's the thing here which makes it look a little bit bad, because he's the only one in midfield. Yeah. Right. Like with Mainu,
I think it's because the first half he was kind of chasing more instead of like holding his position.
Yeah, as well, because the Liverpool midfielders were running beyond as well, so it was kind of like that. That's another reason why. So maybe that's why they got like out of position a little bit. But with Mainu, Amrabat and Mainu were able to hold that structure in midfield. Is the point I'm trying to make here, because Bruno can't play your 8, right, and McTominay can't be your 8. Right, compared to with the one CDM.
All right, 2 issues I have though right now. First off, Virgil van Dijk's comments. Like, first of all, why are you bringing last year up? Like, oh yeah, we weren't really happy to play Man United at the time, or we weren't like prepared, or we were scared.
We're scared, nervous.
And then we ended up beating their ass. This time, it was very clearly they just one team wanted to win.
Right after that, you said, "Oh, but last year doesn't count." Yeah. So why bring it up the first place?
And then this year, it's like only one team was trying to win Sunday's match. Okay. Man United had the better scoring chances, if I recall. In terms of like actual scoring threat. I'm not saying the possession or anything like that.
Yeah, that's like, what scoring chances is.
I'm saying Onana had to make like 2 decent saves, but like
they had half chances.
and Garnacho were the 2 big ones.
Garnacho had a clear,
and Rashford had a good cross in.
Clean cut chance. Rashford had a cross in. Man United had 3 chances. All 3 of those chances were better than your 25 shots or whatever. 15 shots you took off target or into Nana's hands.
So you're saying that, like, okay, the one time he was trying to win the match, but what if the Højlund goal happens? And let's just say it does end up 1-0. Then are you going to say the same thing? One team was trying to win the match, but they go out and win the match. It's not simple as that. Like, there's no reason. Like, Roy Keane, obviously our legend, Man United legend's like, calm down. He only won 1 title, Premier League title in like the 30 years. You only won 1, and that's it. It was you, sure, but like, why are you gonna say, oh, because one team? Like, I get it. The name Manchester United means you think Ferguson, you think attacking. That's a whole different argument. But when it comes to a game plan, one thing I learned from your coach, that coached obviously when I was assistant coach for your team, was you have to plan according to the other team. You can't be, delusional, thinking that, oh, just that team is better, we have to match, we're gonna play how we're gonna play, we can't adjust. Ten Hag, props to him, he adjusted. And that's what you wanted to see. It's not like he went delusional mode and be like, oh yeah, you know what? We're not going to play Mainu either. We're going to play someone else in the center mid with McTominay, and we're going to go at Liverpool. Clearly that wasn't the case, right? And there's credit to the players that kept the structure, because obviously it would depend on the players on the structure, because the players could have broken this.
Yeah, that's a different case. They performed.
At the end of the day, you do what you can to win, and it has to be boring style. Sure, like, yeah, was I bored in the first half? 100%. Was the second half woke up? It was a little end to end for after the 65th minute, I believe. But
that's the issue when it came.
At least when we watched, it wasn't like we were giving up grade 8 chances that De Gea had to turn Arsenal mode from a couple of years ago.
The thing is here is when it became end to end, that's when you got your chances. Right. Yeah. That's when they got their good chances. But yeah, no, the best chances are with Man United. So, you trying to say one team is trying to win? Yes, I'm not saying Man United were trying to win. They were defensive. They were defensive. All that shit, right? Like, you could tell that Liverpool was a better team. Nobody's taking that away. But you weren't good.
Yeah.
Right? We were good defensively, and you didn't figure us out.
Exactly.
That's on you.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
that's not on them.
That was Man United's best way to win, was counterattack.
Exactly.
So it's not like they weren't trying to win. And I'm not saying because we're United fans here, but I'm just saying it as logical sense, right? Yeah, did we celebrate a draw? AKA you're wearing the jersey, right?
Bro, let's go.
But any team would have, like, I think Liverpool alone, again, the same team, people that said, oh, why are you celebrating a Carabao Cup, right? Liverpool is prime example one. They celebrated their Carabao Cups, right? The year they won it, the domestic double, not the title year, obviously. But yeah, no, we'll keep that there. We could go on to it. That's just a dumb comment by him. It was just obviously, I get it. It's out of frustration, out of anger, sure.
I was gonna give you credit because you played incredible.
Yeah,
but screw you.
Jovan alluded to it earlier. Let's close it out on this note. The refereeing has got to be better. You cannot tell me that. Even if that was okay, first of all, what we're talking about is at literally the 93rd, 4th minute, the closing stages of the game, ball goes out of bounds. It was off Salah. The replay showed it was off Salah. Ref/linesman, but more on the ref, gave it to Liverpool. Dallo got pissed, threw his arm around. Like, you're going to show passion and everything. You're going to be annoyed in this situation. Okay, you give him a yellow. First of all, stupid if you give him a yellow in the first place. You give him 2 yellows in a span of 10 seconds.
Because he did it twice.
Yeah. Obviously, people are saying check his fandom and stuff because he's apparently a Newcastle fan. I'm not even going to get there, which is a whole different debate.
But he didn't have it, like, he wasn't
the great ref either that game.
Yeah, he had missed so many calls. Obviously, there were a couple on Hannibal I could remember. There were a couple
the
calls.
Rashford yellow was not a yellow.
Yeah.
Fine, a foul, okay.
You know what,
on a foul
I could
through.
see why he gave the yellow there, kind of, just because it was a follow through.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, honestly, there were some calls even for Liverpool, like, and for United. Like, I'm saying both ways here. Like, it wasn't the best officiated game.
Explain to me in the 93rd minute when the game is 0-0.
You give 2 yellow cards.
And it's just on Liverpool's attacking end. Of course, Dowell's going to be pissed. And then it's not even like you were right. You were wrong.
Exactly.
So I hope I love Wan-Bissaka, so he'll probably fill the role well, but I hope it gets rescinded.
It's not.
Like,
he's still going to get one game.
Appeal it and rescind. No, because if you appeal it and it could get rescinded.
He won't miss it. I think he's still gonna. I think it's
like, unless he said something crazy that we don't know.
But it didn't look like it that. But I think he's still gonna get one game. Honestly, the way that how much games Dallo was playing, just take your one game off. Like, how many games are Dallo playing, bro? Yeah. Focus.
No, I know. Sorry,
focus.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe the TV there wasn't the greatest idea.
Yeah, because we'll keep on looking there.
Yeah. No. The referee's got to be fixed, man. Like, I don't get it. Like, obviously, I pay attention to Man United games because that's the games we mainly watch. I know we try to tune into the other league games, the big ones especially, but I don't see there's a big issue in the Champions League as much as I see it in the Premier League, because obviously there's different governing bodies, right? I'm not saying Champions League's perfect either. They have their own issues there. Because, like, I think what annoys me is the consistency from a Champions League handball to a Premier League handball, or a foul from there, or a yellow there. And obviously the technology and VAR is obviously the case. But that being said, though, yeah, like, I just don't understand it. Like, make it make sense. I think ever since that Liverpool shit happened, they've just been getting beneficial calls because of that situation against Tottenham.
Yeah, but, like, yeah, true. Nothing really major happened. Obviously, there was no, like, big calls, no, like, a penalty or red card thing. But, like, these little things, right, they get frustrating because when you're clearly in the attacking end and your guy gets fouled, you're going to want the free kick, especially when the other team's about to counterattack on your ass.
Yeah. We'll close it out there. Nothing much else to say, but like I said, first of all, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We have a banger guest video coming out this Saturday or Sunday, depending on technology, but it should be out for Saturday. So make sure you guys tune into that. Make sure you guys follow our socials. Almost at 100 on TikTok. Help us reach that. And we are dropping challenge videos, blind ranking videos, draft videos, etc. So you subscribe to the YouTube Shorts. He's been killing it on those. The intro videos, the voice actor Jovan over here. And yeah, make sure you guys just like, comment, and subscribe. Audio listeners, make sure you guys rate and review it and download it. And other than that, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.